Let justice roll down like water, righteousness like a mighty stream. For our grandsons and granddaughters, remember to remember the dream. Welcome to Songs and Stories from Home, as we continue to remember the dream. This week, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and others organizing on the road to freedom. As we enter the summer of 2020, we are at a significant moment in the American experience, in the American experiment. By truly understanding in our hearts and with our words that Black lives matter, we may proclaim to ourselves and to each other and to the memory of those who came before us that we are finally ready to recognize, to put into action, to make more real the ideal, that we are all created equal, and in the eyes of the Creator equally precious. As someone who came of age during the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s, it is inspiring to me on many levels to watch the youth of this country demanding we form a more perfect union, a more just and equitable America. As someone who had a chance to hear President Obama speak at the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge on the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, I continue to be inspired by those whose shoulders we stand on and whose footsteps we walk in. In the course of half a dozen pilgrimages to the American South, visiting sites, hearing stories, and singing songs of the civil rights movement, it was my good fortune to meet and travel with some true American heroes. These included Bob Zellner, Dr. Bernard Lafayette, and his wife, Kate. What became clear listening to their stories, joining them in their songs together with them on the bus, is that after more than 60 years on the front lines of freedom, their spirits remain indomitable. Their eyes remain on the prize, and their hope for and faith in this country remains steadfast and strong. Let justice roll down like water, righteousness like a mighty stream. For our grandsons and granddaughters, remember to remember the dream. The pilgrimage inspired me to learn more about organizations prominent leading up to the civil rights movement. Organizations like the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, of which I am now a member. Founded in 1909 with the idea of making America safe for democracy. Between 1920 and 1938, they flew a flag from their window of their office in New York City. It said a man was lynched yesterday as a way of bearing witness to this country's injustice. In 1910, the Urban League was formed to advocate for economic justice. The African American Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters originated in 1925. The National Council of Negro Women launched in 1935. The Congress of Racial Equality, CORE, inspired by the success of Gandhi and nonviolence, established in 1942. And then in 1957, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference was created with Martin Luther King, its first president. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, better known as SNCC, was formed in 1960 at Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. Ella Baker, one of the true heroes of the movement, along with Howard Zinn, advised the young activist. The activists and Baker espoused participatory democracy, appealing to grassroots involvement, a minimized hierarchy with dual priorities of direct action and voter registration. SNCC would become known as the shock troops of a revolution, playing a leading role in the freedom rides, the March on Washington, the Mississippi Freedom Summer, the Selma Campaign, and the March Against Fear. One of the richest parts of the pilgrimage experience was spending time with, sitting next to, hearing stories of, and singing the songs with people who in the 1960s led this country further down the path to freedom. This included 2 founding members of SNCC. The most striking thing about both of them is how each of them, in their own way, is still continuing to lead us down the road to dignity and equality. Dr. Bernard Lafayette, who, along with his wife Kate, continues to educate the world in the practice of nonviolence. And Bob Zellner, a white kid, raised in what he refers to as L.A., Lower Alabama. And with that sense of humor and fair play, he continues to work toward justice for all, whether that means walking nearly 200 miles in his 70s to protest the closing of rural hospitals in North Carolina, or standing next to Reverend William Barber on that state capitol grounds during a Moral Monday demonstration. And oh, the stories they can tell. And we all will have a chance to learn Bob Zellner's story in a new movie. It's entitled Son of the South. Stand up and rejoice. A great day is here. We're fighting for freedom and victory is near. Hallelujah, I'm a-traveling. Hallelujah, ain't it fine? Hallelujah, I'm a-traveling down to freedom's main line. Hallelujah, I'm a-traveling. Hallelujah, ain't it fine? Hallelujah, I'm a-traveling down freedom's main line.